Okay, so it's Monday at 4:34. Yesterday was Sunday, but it was confusing to me. I was like, man, some of these days, because I don't know. I'll just get up, do stuff, go lay down. I just I don't know. My day pattern is different. The world, like everything is different. Time's so weird. So, anyways, but today's Monday, 4:34. My mom's not here because I don't know if I had said the other day that her friend's husband, well, both of them were her friend, but he died the other day, and so she's down spending the night with her friend, and so anyways, I keep hearing them up at the door. They're her pets, and I'm sure um, they'll be wanting me to come in and feed. I'll do all that on that, and or after I finish. And then yesterday the drama with the cats, another weird thing. God, there just keeps being weird thing after weird thing. So because there kept being all these dead baby bunnies, and I think they were upstairs in the hall. She kept finding the dead baby bunnies. There was 3 of them all together each day. There kept being one, and then I feel so sorry for the mom bunny. It's just picking them off one by one. Because I think they had to be brought in. And then one cat that goes in and out no matter what, just figures out how to break out, is really predatory. So, um, so I'm sure was killing the bunnies and bringing them in like, look at this great thing I've done. And then there was a bunch of little dead mice that were being brought in. And then, okay, so then yesterday, and so it's been a couple weeks, I think, since there was something in there. But so yesterday, when the fight started at first, with all the cats, where I was like, is that scream? Is man screaming or something? But it was the cats fighting right out here. And then they moved into the house. But it was some stray cat, some just stray cat came and got into the catio, then came into the house, and then all the cats started freaking out and they were all fighting. And then, so, anyways, that was the hell that happened in there yesterday morning when I was recording. It was so wild. I couldn't believe it. So it sounded like a scary movie, and it kept going and going. And then I heard my mom talking to him. And so I went in there to see, because I was like, who's fighting? And that's how she's like, there's some strange cat in here. The cats are all going crazy. And so then she moved it out to the catio and fed it and watered it. And it seemed healthy. It seemed like maybe it is a person's cat. It was really pretty too. and and so when she was thinking, what's she going to do? Because if another stray, because these strays show up at her house, and then she takes care of them. And then if people dump their cat, like, it's like, so anyways, but they come to her, and, this is her role in her life. And who knows, like, yeah, what was the counter to these lessons? But it could be anything. As to me, it's like, oh my God, it is like you are, your whole life is just for them. Like you're just living for them, taking care of them. I saw a video the other day of somebody going into a house where the people had 50 cats and they never cleaned up after them or so. Oh my God, it was, oh God, it just nauseates me just to see it in my head. The whole, like, 4 feet of the wall, the whole way around was just brown. And when like, that is just cat spray. They just spray and spray, and these people never clean the walls. And then they scratched all the stuff off their couch and all the fabric off the back and the side. So just bare, just the front of the couch, just nothing on the back of the couch. We'll probably spray. The spray was everywhere, all over on the kitchen. It was everywhere. In the litter, or in the cat, in the kitchen, it looked like they just let him use it to go to the bathroom and just put litter on the ground or something. I don't even know what the hell. And but it wasn't any stuff. Like they had no, it was like this couch, and then everything was just, so maybe it was their, a barn or something, really in true life, where the cats just had the run of it, and they just rescued cats and let them live in the barn or something. Maybe they never got them fixed. I'm not sure what the real story is, but oh man, the house was gross. And speaking of gross, this is gross. I'm gonna tell you guys because I just heard it. So share this gross one too. Hold on. So this oh yeah, and I want to tell a story yesterday too, because it's a video I just saw, and it was a girl who had been an inmate, and she said, you know, these scary stories and stuff that you guys hear on the news and stuff. Well, I lived with these people. And she said, and some of the stuff is just, it's horrible. And so she had this one cellmate, I guess maybe it was just her, because they have like their cellmates, but then they also have their block. It's like a block of, you know, like the A block, the B block, the C block, and how many ever fits in that, so they can interact in their block. And that's why in their block, they have to, like the kid dealers, those guys have a problem of a block, and so then they had to start putting them in their own block. At the prison out here that I worked at for like a week, that that they had, and Washington State has a lot of these people, and so they had to create their own block. But if that block even comes out there in danger, they have to keep them in segregation, like separation from the other inmates. But anyway, so so you can interact with your block of people. It's like a den kind of in a building. You know, I think that's the TV room or whatever, where they can come out and sit at like picnic tables and do stuff. And then in their rooms, they're just kind of like really small, like a cot, and then a lot of stuff that they get in the little stores. So some of them have like little things to cook. And then their food access is like a lot of top ramen and crap. And then they have, so lots of people have stacks of stuff that they could eat. I think that they can sell it to each other too. And then like a TV, it's like this really cramped in little spots. So they don't just hang it. On TV, they make their cells, and maybe some are bigger, but I imagine any bigger cells, they just cram more beds in. I don't give them any space, and then they give them a toilet that they have to use in front of each other. And so they don't just like hang out in there all the time. They hang out in the space thing. So when she was talking about this lady she saw every day, but she said, so this girl, the story's gross, I'm telling you. It's disturbing. It's so strange though that it is like, what? And she said this girl seemed totally normal or regular, like you wouldn't have thought anything. So she had a boyfriend, and her boyfriend had kids, and he had to go to work, so he left his little baby with her. And then so he comes home from work, and she serves him up dinner, and he's sitting there, you know, talking about how good it was and asking her what it was. And so then she informs him that, of course, it's his baby. And in the crime thing, what she had done was just put the little baby, little girl baby, in the oven, just cooked her alive, and then she chopped her up, minced her up, and served her up. And then the guy went into the mental institute, and she said he's never come out of there. It's like, oh my God. I just, oh God. And the stuff that goes on between like these souls and these soul groups and stuff, see how it's just like, but then you don't even know like what's the counter, you know, like, you know, what did this person do to that person last time? as it goes back and forth, just like how I was talking about the chain in life with this back and forth. And Crystal, yeah, that's totally what I'm saying. Is like it's like these two different energies, and it's like this two, because to me, on either side of me, it feels like negative and judgmental, and then on either side of them, each person, well, the people who don't have kids, that don't have that, that's why I was saying it kind of, and it kind of, well, that makes your lessons different. I'm not saying women who can't have kids, their life has no purpose. No, every life has a purpose. Sometimes it has no, they don't have kids because, like, say, in a past life, they had a bunch and, maybe they sold them. Maybe they just didn't have any appreciation. Maybe, and so then they come in and then they go through this different kind of experience of perspective to see, like, what it's like, to really want something and not be able to have it. And in that case, the energy around her would be just lots of happy families, women just enjoying being moms and stuff. So, but the things that play out in such a coordinated fashion, and that things are so complex, like you can't just go and figure out somebody else's past life. It's kind of a private kind of thing, really, when you're looking at some of the horrible stuff you've done. And then, because everybody's done horrible stuff, don't kid yourself. And then I mean, this woman, this horrible stuff, but we've all done horrible shit. We all have. It's just the way it goes. It's like you can't just always play the good guy. You can't always just be, it would give you a tainted view. If you want a pure view, you have to see it from a lot of different real perspectives. How did somebody get to this point of doing such a horrific thing? That is what we are learning as souls. How do we get there? What happens? And then we go through it. That is where we build up compassion and empathy, because it's like, well, I can see how it happens. Yeah, I can get it. But then the littlest coordinates can change, and then it can change outcomes and stuff. And so the player goes through all the different experiences, because, like I've said, it's just this continuous expansion. But it definitely is this throughout everything, is this balance, counterbalance, this positive to a negative. And so it's like these two different energy kind of things. And it's not to say like, oh, I see them as like sometimes like stuff that's some people will say, or their outlook, and I'm just like, how can it be so negative? Like, how can you just see negative? It just is like, oh my God, it can be draining. But so then to me, it is well, I could turn it into draining them by ridiculing them and putting them down, and or I could just see like how it affects me, and then do what I need for my own self. And and it's just, I mean, there is, especially like right now, with the way things, everything happening and whatever. It's like, fuck, man. Like the negative and positive, oh, and it's very, yeah, like different. And then plus, it's just like the information that holds people back, man. Fuck, not open to new theories, understanding life in this other kind of concepts and stuff. But, I mean, I've experienced that through the whole time, like spiritual. If you're spiritual, do you even believe in God? It's like, God, the limitations and perspective of existence is just so crazy. And then the ego or the arrogance behind this is the one only, this is the one truth, and all of that. And it's different groups. It's not just one group. And then they all fight. They can't even perceive that there could be many truths. Your truth is what it is you focus on. What it is you believe is your truth. And there's lessons behind every fucking truth. Everything has lessons. Everything has points and counterpoints. And the freeing is to become the independent, the sovereign being, not being the counterweight. And so the either it's like not being in the side anymore, the turmoil. And it seems that that is like this vibration thing, like that is where that's the elevation, pulling out of this black or white, good or bad kind of world. And that pulls us, but we have to face like it in ourselves, because you can't be what you are, because the world around you becomes that. So you can't be that and go enter a different place, because then you would change it into that. And so you have to change you to get to the place you want to be. So you have to let go of these different aspects, these different, what I say, like these darknesses, these holds on people, these chains that hold people back. And the bias thing is just so obvious. What was the one yesterday that I still got to tell the thing. What I saw yesterday, I was just like, oh my God, the biases are just so, people just don't realize. Like, it's their biases that hold them back. I think it was something with Donald. Because there's lots of stuff with Donald, of course. Hold on a second, let me finish this. So, okay, the story that I wanted to finish is, so yesterday I was out watering. She was leaving and stuff, and I was out there watering. So she left, and I think okay, so I went and took my dogs for a walk. So we walk all the way down to the lake. That's where we gotta go every day now. Still's gotta go down and swim around in the lake for a little. Then we walk back. It's just the sloth walk. It's the slowest walk you can imagine. And so we get back, and I hadn't even got him into the thing. We were walking past the thing, and I said, let me move the water. And so then they just stand there, because they're all hooked in together. And so they just stand there. None of them. That's one thing, is when you teach your dogs to all walk on one leash, they learn how to pace with each other. I think that's what they do when they're teaching the Adirondack, the dogs that pull the things in Alaska or whatever, the ice dogs that pull things, and they have to work as a team. And then they use a lot of time Huskies, Malamutes, or whatever. So they, I think they think of them as team dogs or pack dogs or whatever. You teach them what I've seen is that the pack, it becomes a pack, and then they do like work together. It's like they become one mind almost. And then when you talk to them and you work with them every day, they start catching on and listening. I was getting so irritated with Max, and I said this complex move, and then he listened and did it. So they pick up on things, and it's just, I don't know. But I think it's cool when I go out and I walk them, and they go. Max is the only one who will pull, but he's always like scouting around, like he's gonna go over here, he's gonna scout around, like, watch, okay, come on, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go over here. Like, but and then sometimes he'll start doing these little spins around, as he just gets so like, I don't know, his anxiety is how I see it, a big part of his personality. But anyways, so we get back, and they're standing by the garden, and I go in there, and I turn the water off, and I start moving the sprinklers. And right as I'm doing that, I don't think I heard it coming first. It was like I could hear something. And then I turn and look, and it's this big deer. It's coming, running straight for the garden. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope it doesn't hit into the fence. I hope he can see him, because he was running from something, obviously. He was scared, and he was running. And so I'm like, be careful, be careful. And he's just like, I swear to God, I could just pick up on his vibe. He's like, I've got to go. Like, you could just pick up on his vibe. Like, him looking at me with, like he's saying, and he hit into, well, he was still going, and he had an open thing, but he's got to maneuver through. I showed the garden yesterday, and it's pretty much closed in, but there is a part through the trees with it's open, and she doesn't want to close it all off because the deers do go through there and stuff, but trying to make it not be so available so then they're just come in and eat all the food. And but this one I've seen this, I'm sure it's this one I see out here a lot. And so he comes running as soon as he sees my dogs, and I'm talking to him, and then my dogs hear me talking and turn and look and see him, and he sees them, and so they start running towards him barking. He turns and runs the other way, goes out around the garden that way. He's still going the same direction. He wasn't going back that way, and which I knew he was being chased. I was like, what's coming? And so he goes and he runs that way and goes off that way. Well, I swear to God, it was like a movie scene. I wish I would have got it on film. It was the weirdest thing. It was like this weird dystopian creep ass movie. So what comes running up is 3 fucking giant black Labradors. These dogs look like such perfect specimens. I've never seen anything so fucking perfect looking. Like when I'm looking at these ginormous black labs, all silk black coats, all 3 looked exactly identical, like a fucking clone. One of them had a red collar on, I think. It was the only thing that made them different. The other 2 didn't have anything, and they were all looked exactly the same. All that just felt, they look like suede or something. Yeah, they look like movie props. Like, it was the craziest thing how and they look like robots kind of in the way they came running up. And then they look around and they're smelling, and they're looking, and I'm like, go home, go home. And I'm thinking somebody's going to be coming behind them, chasing their dogs or something. Or did they sick their dogs on them? Or are they from a long ways away and their dogs just took off chasing them? Because these are not the neighborhood dogs around here. I've never seen these dogs. And we go out and walk all the time, and I've never seen these dogs. And Stella has taken us pretty far to walk on this one road up to where these other dogs are. These are like shepherd dogs, and they just come running out of their yard. So I don't want to go up there because you just don't know when, a fight will start with the dogs when they're out, like, because you don't know other people's dogs. And Stella gets attacked all the time. And so, because the other dogs take her as aggressive, I think, over her size or something. Anyways, so these 3 dogs run up and they stand. Each of them is like standing in this. I'm telling you, it was like perfect. Like there was a director back there telling him. It was the craziest thing. And then and so I'm like, go home, go home. And they look over at me, and then they look back, and then it's like they all read their signal or whatever, and then they took off and ran and went to follow the trail that the deer had done. And then they take off through the neighbor back here, which a lot of the houses, their houses is up at the road. So back here is a lot of, it's not like dense woods, but there's a lot of trees and hill, like it's it's a mountainy kind of side thing. And so they went running off that way, and then I could hear the other dogs down in the thing going that direction, all howling and barking and stuff. And I was worrying, if they were gonna catch the deer and what they were gonna do. I was thinking, do they have a guy who has put him out to do this? Is this like how this guy hunts? Like, what in the hell? I have never seen anything like this. And then the way they all move together and stuff, like, I have the thing with my little pack of seeing them, but this was like a whole nother level. And the way they all matched and stuff, and the way I don't know, that was the craziest thing. And so I'm just standing there like, what the hell is going on? And I'm trying to listen to the thing, and I start texting my mom because I'm like, maybe there's somebody that should be notified. if somebody's got their dogs out here hunting deers, I think that still counts as hunting. I would think, I don't know, maybe the signs are no shooting, what you can use your dogs to hunt. I was like, I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. And then, and no person ever showed, and never heard a person drive by hollering their dog's names or anything. I don't know if they have just a whistle, they bring the dog back, the dog tracks them and takes them where they do their kill or something. They just corner this poor defenseless animal and then rip it up. Like, god damn. So, the, so anyways, so I'm standing there, like weird now, and then I see other movement. I turn and look, and it was a fox. I couldn't tell if it was a coyote or a fox at first, but so it's walking next to this shed right here, the one that's got the mural on it, so the one that's right by the garden. So it's walking over there, then the compost is kind of over there, and so it goes over that direction, and then it jumps. I've got video of it jumping too. And so it jumps over and it gets into the garden. It's just trotting around. And then the dogs, because I was out there videotaping it, and I said, so weird, the dogs haven't even noticed. So then of course, they jump up, like, what are you talking about? And they start barking. So I think it went down out the other way, because I didn't ever go that way, but it could have been magical. It could have just went right through and went into a new dimension. I have no fucking clue. But it was so weird. So then I was like, oh my God, what's next? Is it going to be like a bear is going to come, a mountain lion, maybe Bigfoot's on his way? It was the weirdest thing. How it all went, the deer, then the dogs, and this fox. I was like, oh man, that was weird. The cat in the morning started with this cat in here, cat battle. And then there was there just keeps being weird stuff. Like, the animals are all definitely being affected by whatever's going on. Let me think. So, okay, on the, oh yeah, because I wanted to say this. Okay, because I would say, Crystal, I don't know, what I used to think about the borders and stuff, I mean, it was just kind of like, I just accepted, get your passport, do this, do that. And I would feel like, it was kind of extreme. Like, if you've traveled internationally and stuff, and all the bullshit you have to go through. And so I I think I thought it was, nonsense or whatever. But then but it's how everything is played out, and then what I have seen. So what I see is where we're going, and we're going into this freedom. The borders are going to open, and I'm not just saying like, oh, this is what I want. I'm saying I see this is coming, and then the things playing out is how they happen. And so what happens is this, but we're in the time where the things are playing out. So I'm not just saying, well, I want open borders. I'm saying I have seen now in my head, and now I understand it on this level of that now I see, like, yeah, why the hell are that? Like, it's stupid. And then you start seeing, like what I was saying in the comments with Joe's policy, but it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the crime wave and what they're involved in, and that's why we have to go through all this stuff and see all the criminal shit that goes on, and who all's involved, and who's all trying to protect this enterprise that goes on through this trade industry, and that functions through the border. But the thing is that for one thing, they create problems, and then we all have to suffer the consequences. But it's not stopping any of these people. They're gonna continue doing their stuff, even if they get in trouble doing something. They just get let out. So they all continue their crime stuff. Once this stuff is taken down, once this this trade industry is taken down, then the borders aren't going to be, they're not going to be anything. It's not going to be like bad or bad people are trying to come. That's the thing where we're going to. That's why we're going through all of this. So we get up here where there's open borders, and the reason why it's not is because not a problem is because right now they're going through and taking down all of the people who used this to function. Well, it was like the criminals can make a lot of money off of selling poor people's, you know, little ones. And then so they take, you know, whatever. They take some poor people, sell, like there's a whole thing going on with that. And then they've got to get them over to other places. They even use them as suitcases, you know. They use them to as containers in some cases, you know. So there's like no value. But so you know, whatever you get used as, you're just nothing, you know, you're just used. And they take lots of little kids. They will take women or other anybody who they do in, then they can use them as they lay them in the back of cars and stuff and make them look like they're asleep. I don't even know how they could get away with this anymore, because there's got to be so many that have been caught. Or they make them sit. It's like Weekend at Bernie's, only there's nothing inside of the people except for a bunch of little dope bags or whatever it is that they're bringing across. But so these people who have this trade industry going, then they have to get their product from this area into the area where the people are going to buy, or the hub of transfer locations, because there has to be transfer stations, because some of them are going over into other countries, and so they have to get them over to this one. Well, with all the people who say, yeah, well, you can come through here, but you're going to give me something. And so these people, like politicians and whatnot, have all made money off of this back scratching laundry system, because then it was like, yeah, and it's a funnel system. I swear, the way I came to understand how it works was watching that show Deuce. It's a show about New York in the 70s, I think, or 60s or 70s, in the porn industry, and how that criminals and, you know, gangsters, and how they work with their kickbacks and the pressure, and how the politicians and city councils and all that stuff, they get either pressured or they sell out. They a lot of times they just get, you know, bitten by the greed bug, and they just, you know, want to make money, and then they all think that they're protecting each other. But this is the unveiling. This is when the people are all being shown. And so all these people who are our people have been, who were supposed to be protecting us and stuff, they have been making money off of this. And that is in his Donald's EOs, that from the last one, the last reign, that he had put it all in there. If you're involved with any of this stuff that has any harm that happens to kids, then you are going down for the count. That's it for you. And not only are you going down for the count, but we're taking all your stuff and it's going back to the people. And so this is all of this money that they've been hoarding and stuff is all being taken, is because it's all blood money, and so it's all going to go back into communities and try and rebuild, you know, life after we crash out, after everybody finds out all this stuff that's been going on. But so it is it's almost like the border is created so you have to pay the toll. You know, you got to pay the toll to cross into our place, the toll. And once it's cut on what the money you're making, So you're making, 100K off of one little wee one, and then so I want 50 of that, and so they all start just this transferring, taking payback kickbacks in order to do soulless acts. And so, but this is the time where it's all being exposed, and they're all having to see themselves too, and it's gonna be there's gonna be a lot, because there's a lot of people who are involved in this stuff, um, and because it goes so deep, like it develop. Like I think there's realtors and stuff that have got themselves in, developers and stuff. They've got themselves in certain situations with certain people, but I don't think that they really realize how bad until they get called into court. And so we'll see, but I think there's going to be people who are going to be, and it may not be, where we all hear, but people who know them, who are in their general circle, there will be people who will see like family members have to go up against this military court system thing that's gonna, which I think is already going on. I think it's been going on. I think they're constantly making arrests. I think there's people constantly going. I think they keep a character alive in order to have it play out a thing. There's more weird stuff on that senator weird thing from the other night. But there's gonna keep on being more and more weird stuff, because the more sensationalized and weird it is, the more attention it brings, and the more attention it brings, then the more people start to question what's going on, and that's the part of the awakening. So a lot of the drama and a lot of the crazy shit is just to get people to pay attention, because so many people just don't pay attention. And so the but so that the whole thing with the border is going to change gently. Like it's not going to be, we're going to go back to what it was. That open was part of the show, so that we would see like what it was, all the people. But see, then it also triggered this other part in people, this fear of other people and stuff like that. And like at this this army thing, whatever, was, and they're cheering, and, like, close off everybody, isolate, and they can't cross over. That's just, it's not the energy we're going towards. So that's what I can see. I can just see it. I'm not saying, some of the stuff I say isn't just my feelings, it's what I see. And so I see the people are going to be, there's going to be, because it kind of is, this, as people are out there bringing this energy in it is kind of creating a drive to, why we are all free. Why can anybody tell us how to move and where to go? And why can they fucking charge us and make us have to have papers and all this bullshit? And so that is going to be more and more where people are going to be like, I don't want this. I don't want this. And it's going to go away. That's the thing. Everything that we don't want is going to go away. And people are not going to want that. But there's going to be people who want to continue that. That is going to be the separation in energies. There's going to be people who want to stay in that, like play out that negative timeline of separation and fear and stuff. So that's going to continue. But there's going to be a separation, and there's going to be a different part, a different group that is going to be more unity, open borders. I can go wherever I want. And it seems like they're going to do it through our ancestry and our heritage. And that's why so much of that is coming up with like these tribes and stuff, and all of these people, have pushed off their land. Which, one thing too, and I don't know if I said this on here yesterday, but I was like, 250 years. So the Army's 250 years. Oh, yeah, because I was saying this because about the bicentennial. So, because I lived through the bicentennial. So that was the 200th birthday of the country. And so now we got the 250th birthday, but it's not of the country, it's of the Army. And so I did this video because I'm like, what is the deal with this math kind of thing? Like, thinking like other people would be like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, does it? But no, instead I've got the other people who came in on, well, oh my God, just Google. Just go and Google if you don't understand the history and all this stuff. I was like, oh my God. So, like, no question at all. And so I did another one or two videos because it was like, okay, so you're telling me that this Boston Tea Party thing that happened, which if you talk to people in England, they get a different history about this little interaction than we get. In our interaction, it was this, then we're trying to tax the tea, or I don't even remember. I've heard different things now of the lie, and it's just so much bullshit. But so you're telling us that we have this big fight over the crown still trying to tax us when we moved away, and then we just dumped all their tea in the ocean because we weren't going to have any of it. And so this battle occurred, and what do we have? Betsy Ross in there? Is that when she's over there sewing the stars on the flag? And we got somebody over there singing and making a song about the Star Spangled Banner and all the lights going because the fighting that was happening with all their bombs and stuff going on each other. It's like, okay, so, and this was the farmers. So the farmers who had left the Europe to get away from the ground, come over here to look for new lands, a new place to be. They all get over there on the 13 original colonies or something. That's weird. I was always 13 original family, 13 original colonies. Okay, so they come over here, and they're out there working their land, trying to feed their families, trying to build their houses, and then all of a sudden, to get supplies, they got to pay the taxes again. And so they were refusing, and so then they have to go and fight, which, if you had to fight, but so you're telling me that they just decided to form an army? So they just became an army. But some people were like, oh yeah, and George Washington was the first one and all this stuff. So they form an army over here. Then they decide, I guess, to take on the Great Frontier. And they take off across, because we have all of, whatever those guys were called, the F Troop guys, the ones that were going out across the land and putting up these forts to fight against the different tribes. I think the Alamo thing was a really big battle. I think that they were taking these people's land, and these people were fighting for their land. And so, anyways, there was big fights that were going on. And, I was always thought it was like these F Troop guys, whatever they're called. I can't remember, but that's what they showed us in the movies when I was growing up. It was these, it's like, I guess the original army, the army. And so then so they're going out and battling all these other people, taking their lands and crossing across there. So then they get the whole United States in it. So they've taken it now as their land, but then they can't all get along. So then they have to divide into the Yankees and the Confederates, because then they got to have a civil war. They got to fight brother against brother in this war. So the army, I don't know, divided into two parts, and then they became these two. And so then after they do that, then there's some other battles, because then in World War I, was that the very first one where then again they're going and taking the farmers and telling them, hey, you got to go over here and fight. Because I don't know, I don't think they were bringing just people in and training them. I think that they were still just like, hey, you got to get over here. We got to fight. So I don't know. To me, it seemed like absurd. So 250 celebration of fighting and warring because like what is our history and stuff, like I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like I could get it when I was a kid in the bicentennial and the 200th birthday of our country. It's so exciting. And we get to live through it. Big news. But then all of a sudden it's the 250th birthday of the Army? Like, what? 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 Are you trying to sell us a new history here or something? What is the storyline? Like, what is going on? Like, this is the weirdest shit, man. And then you get the people who just argue with you. It's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I came from a different world. And maybe I'm getting mine meshed in and confused with this one. And I don't know the history of, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But maybe because I did read the Marianne Williamson book after that, because I think I was like 13 or something when the 200th birthday situation. It was 1976 when it was the birthday thing, and then it was so it was like 1980 or 1981 when I read the Celestine Prophecy. So maybe and she didn't write it in this reality, so maybe I was living a different reality. Maybe we were being taught different things at school. And then all, because it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe in this reality, 200, they had maybe every year they celebrate maybe 249th birthday of the Army. Maybe the Army, I have no clue. I mean, it's just weird. So, anyways, but the people are all like freaking over Donald's, you got both sides saying things on both things, so it's gonna keep going. And I have this one video because this girl was like, I would say she was probably a liberal, and so she said, well, she went into some meditation to see, like, I think there's something in my pocket. No, maybe there was a tissue. It's just, oh yeah, there is. So it's kind of wadded up. Oh, because it probably went through the washer machine. Hold on, my nose is running. So, so anyways, the Donald, the people seeing, oh yeah, okay, so this video, this girl, she was saying, so she went in and did a meditation to talk to her guides to see what's up with this Donald situation. And they told her he has a very big role to play, that he's pretty much like what I said, but I can't remember her exact words, but he is a catalyst and he's creating all these different things. He has a big role. It seems like maybe it was like she was saying, like, it's not gonna be clear or something. It's gonna seem like he's going back and forth or something, but it has to do with this other thing going. I don't know. I'd have to watch the video again, but anyways, it's just like some of these people who don't like him, who are confused over what's happening or whatever, and then I think they're all like, how is this happening? What is happening here? Because a lot of those people thought Como was bringing us peace or something. It's like, oh my God, how in the world? Like, you obviously don't pay any attention to things outside of what you're told or something. I mean, she's a bringer of dark energy. And I don't know. To me, it's just been so obvious. And it just is, so it kind of weirds me out. And these people, like, they can't see the dark and the light and the directions in this other I saw this video and it was talking again about the split thing and about the two realities, and it was saying the same thing as what I was saying is this, it's like this negative timeline. It's like this fear and division, and I'm good with it, I'm comfortable with it, keep them away. It's a thing that will play out. So those souls that want that are going to go in that direction. And it's not like, you're wrong or whatever. Like, if that's what you really want, it's not like you're wrong. You're going to be programmed into what it is you're here to experience. So it's going to make the most sense. It's going to feel the most comfortable. And so if you're here to go in that direction, to stay, but I'm just saying, or going in that direction, is it going in a different direction. I'm just saying the direction that this side is going towards freedom of movement, not restrictions, not allegiances, not taking a knee to somebody else. It's like a complete and utter sovereignty, a freedom. And what was this? So this was a guy who, okay, I think he goes into trances or something. He says he talks to aliens or something and talks to different groups. And this was a long while ago. And he said that once the two eyes, he said that all this stuff is going to be happening. So he said, accurately, and I think it was like he did this like 10 or 20 years ago, he said this. And so all the things that have been happening, he had said or something on some podcast or something. And then he said once the two eyes, if you know what I'm talking about, the stuff that's going on back and forth right now, once that starts happening, that we're right there. Like, this is when this thing is going to happen. And I don't remember if he said that the split, because I keep seeing this, and so I'm not just making this up. I can see it, but I keep hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. And so the split into these two different energies. So it's the ones that are all about freedom and sovereignty, and that going in that direction. That's the creation of a reality that we are calling the age of Aquarius, the abundant, the golden age reality. But that's not the only thing, because we have this other one that's splitting off to go experience. And I don't know, it is because then there's other thought theories that it is when it splits, that it's not going to be, we're going to be in two different places, that we're going to be in the same place. It's going to be two different attitudes. There's still these two different attitudes, like, and as things play out, that some people are going to go over to the other side. They're not going to stay on this side because they're going to start seeing things differently. And so, and then if that's not going to split, it's like this one becomes more determined and more like, no, we want this, and this one becomes, no, we want this. So they go in two different directions. But so, and that's like a cosmic thing too. That's something in this, I don't remember what it's called, Kunalunga, something, with these waves of energy and how they merge and go out. And so we're in this merge, but the two energies, the two opposing forces, are going to go off and experience themselves. So the ones that want more restrictions and more control, they're going to go experience it. The sounds are so weird. So crazy. And the ones that want freedom, they're going to go experience that. And it's not like there's one wrong or right. It's just freedom of experience. It's just experience. It's not like you're forever. And so it's the lessons and stuff that people learn, because you learn a lot from whatever the things. So anyways, and Donald is leading the light. So he's trying to get people to see, to go towards this direction. But also, it's not a forced thing, because we have freedom, free will, freedom of choice. and in all experiences uh, have significance. So it's not about the making a good choice or a bad choice or the good or the bad or any of that stuff. It's just about the experience. So, but that's where this happens. So, but if you really want closed borders and all that, there's nothing wrong with that. That's going to go into one experience, but there's going to be another. So that's all I'm saying. And I just know I'm going towards this one because it has been shown to me these different things. It moved me into a direction where I was like, yeah, like, what the hell? Can't tell us what to do. And in the illusion behind it, because they're not stopping the criminals. Criminals just come up with, they pay people, they build tunnel, they just do all sorts of stuff. And I can't even believe the amount of movies that I've seen with tunnel, tunnel, tunnel. This one yesterday that I just was watching, it was called, let me think. I think it had Paul Walker in it. Man, I can't think of what it was called. It was like not like MK, it was it's always so weird when things have like but it was about one of those kind of things, like one of their projects, like the Gateway, so it was one of those, and it starts with an I, and it's the something project. Oh no, it starts with an L, Lazarus. I think it was the Lazarus project, maybe. So, and what it was is that he was a prisoner, and then he was being done in, and so he thought he was going to be gone, but instead they took him and put him in a different reality, and then they were in charge of it, and they were kind of like their own group or something. And so their project was to see if they could rehabilitate people by giving them a fake life or something. But the people start shorting out because they can remember their old one, and they're drawn, but then they start telling them a whole bunch of lies, which anybody who's been lied to knows. Oh my God, this little anyone who's been lied to knows how much that fucks with your head and makes you go crazy. And so, anyways, but just like these government programs of control and these artificial realities that are created. And I'm also curious because this one that they found under the ground, under the ocean, they think it's 100,000 years old or whatever. And then it's like, is it just like, have they been just making these little fucking weird fake realities? Because they're saying that there's a whole bunch of these domes down in the ocean of these fake realities. And they're stuck like in the 50s. And, oh yeah, okay, so the shark thing coming out of the sky, then and people were trying to see, like, did a bird drop it, but nobody could see any bird from where this thing came from, the shark that fell, so they couldn't see any birds. So I mean, it's a theory though that there's a bird way up there that went out and got this shark out of the ocean and was carrying it and dropped it, and that's why it fell on this golf course or whatever. And these little dogs, they're like, I want to be held right now. I want to sit on your lap. It's like, you're such a space invader. And so and they gotta be licking. Licking is a sign of submission, which I just learned that recently. I thought it was kissing, like be sweet kisses, but no, it's just a sign of submission. So anyways, the shark thing, but there was another thing too. But anyways, this was, I was seeing this in my head, was again with this, so if we're inside this globe. Like if you think of this globe more of a honeycomb, and we're inside at all these different levels, and the water is going up. It's like around us already. And we are not seeing it in the way, and because something that keeps happening, that keeps weirding me out, is I will be walking, and all of a sudden I'll feel like a raindrop on me, and I'll be like, where did this come from? How did it just water just all of a sudden drip on me? And so it's been weirding me out because it's been going for weeks, and whenever I'm outside, it'll just, something will drip on me, and a lot of times it's more than once. And so I'll get drips on me. It'll be like, what in the hell? Is it like it's trying to rain or something? And it can be completely clear. And yesterday, no, it was in the last couple days, I was walking right in front of me. So I saw the drop coming. It didn't hit me. I just saw it go down like a raindrop coming. And I was like, okay, so there is water falling from the sky. I'm not imagining this. I just saw one going down. So these raindrop things that are falling. And then I was thinking, thinking about the sky and this multiple atmosphere, there's multiple skies that we got going on out here. And then I was thinking, in our honeycomb of existence, and that the water is, I don't know, it's almost like the ocean is here for us, but then there's another land here, so the ocean is here for them. So it's like, I don't know, it's like this different thing where I was like, okay, so if it's over here and we have this, sky, but it's really ocean, and so it's falling out because it's over here. If you get what I'm saying. I know that sounds crazy, but it seems like to me the land is coming out like it doesn't look like what they tell us, and it doesn't. And the land masses, like North America is here, and then like Greenland or something is here, but it's like inside this thing, and it's like all these different levels. It wouldn't have surprised me too if it was kind of like vibrations. Like even in the lower vibration, there's different vibrations. Like in some of the realities that have been existing in the same one that we've been existing in under this containment center, that have been really, really dark. Like they've been in war, and some of them, it's okay to do things to get, like there's all these different things. It almost, yeah, that's weird, because it almost is like these terror guy, that they are able to go through into different realities and merge, like in this one where there's like they don't care about the kids or whatever, then they just go and take them, and so they can go into that one. But we can be in our reality and not even know that reality exists, of what has been going on with these other people or these other kids, or what happens there. And that is why, like in this awakening time where we start having all these people have awareness of what's going on in different places, it's like they're pulling us into these different realities. And but it's weird because it's almost like they have these abilities to just go into different ones. Like, I don't know, it's weird. It's just the yeah, because even if you go to some places, I don't know, there's something just weird about all the places here, about all the control, about there's a lot of things. There's gonna be a lot of stuff about uh, our reality and our space that is going to come more into, mind-blowing kind of thing. And I know that everything is like realities and realms and vibration, and everything is much different than how they say. But I think it's going to really be surprising to people. But they're the religion thing, man, how it is such a trap over thought, in the being able to see anything outside of that. Just like how that one person was saying, like they don't see anything spiritual happening in the world because that would be the devil. So they don't, they're not involved with that kind of thing. Then you can't say anything outside of the narrative. They only can, understand being in existence through this concept that was sold to them. You say anything else, well, no, you're just wrong. That's just wrong. And I don't know how it's gonna unravel in their mind or in their psyche or something. Like how it seems still to me like this would be not their time to ascend. That it is too much of a trap. I could be wrong. We'll see. We'll see as things start to awaken. But man, I've been seeing it for a couple of years that the hardest program is going to be to break is this religious one. And I keep seeing, I mean, it just seems like it gets more boundaries around it, more, it's so great because yesterday I was getting the lecture on the, the what is real is and what isn't, and if you that place that just so happens to be that word, that they're the good. It's kind of like the disease. So it's so weird how some of these things, the disease, the Z's, so the Z's, the ZIONSISTs. So that group of people. So it seems like maybe it was the Gnostics and the Zionists or something. Maybe it was like the two opposing forces. And so, but the Z's, they decided to take over because that is a darker vibration and want to control people. And so they wanted to take over, but then they needed a story to cover. So they had to create the blues so that they had a beard so that they could go through, and then they had to make it that these people had to be marginalized in society. So they had to have, people are out to get them. See, it keeps sounding like there's thunder or something. And then it keeps being like weird things with there's so many weird sounds in the sky. Like, I think, yeah, we've got to be getting closer and closer. And it's definitely something's going to go on in the sky. And it could be because they've got so much firing going on that, maybe the ships are going to come in, like, and that was one thing, I think it was the podcast guy said, that all of a sudden the sky is going to reveal, like we're going to see the true sky and it's going to be full of ships. And so I still say, yeah, there's just something going on. And I can see this different merging of these skies. I don't know what that sound is. But anyways, so they needed a mask and they needed to be marginalized so that nobody could say anything to them. But then they needed protection. So they needed protectors. And so they got this group, because the Christians are like fucking dead on with these people. Like, they are the holy, it's like, I don't know. Because whatever it was, in this conversation, I just said something like, well, when there's stuff going on with these the two eyes, and they're going back and forth, and it was right away like, oh, so you think that the ones in, the real ones are bad guys? I was like, what? What? It was like, for one thing, I'm certainly not, going into that conversation because it's so deep. It's like, yeah, it's like way up at the surface of what you are seeing and hearing. And it's like, oh my God, it's way deeper. But so but yeah, the bad guys went through a lot of stuff to create this illusion. and to give them power to cover them. And it's weird how all these people, well, they've got the Great Dome, you know, it's like the Great Protection and stuff. It's like, well, there's so many weird things. It's like in the way that the compliancy, the protection, you know, it's all got to fall apart. It's all got to be revealed, and there's just so much weird stuff, and there's so much weird stuff that people just, they don't question it, they just support it. They don't. It's just they choose sides when they don't even know what the sides are, and it's just they're so misled. They're product of their environment, and that is what they're going to be facing in this ego challenge that is going to be coming up. And so, and it's just so much. Oh my God! I mean, with all these groups that don't see things, but they are held back by their own biases. There's just plenty of people who like, they don't give any value to Donald. You know, he's a billionaire. I hate those guys. He's this. He's this. You know, that is your biases. The things you believe is because how can you know? You don't even know the guy. You never spent 10 minutes in a room with them. How in the hell would you know anything about him? You only know what other people say. And then you choose what you want to listen to, what you believe, and it's going to be based off of your biases. And to me, when I was biased against him, he reminded me of, you know, my dad's phony ass rich friends and stuff, and the womanizing and stuff. So I put him in that category. So my biases put me in, you know, he's just another one of these scumbag rich old guys that just skeezy, think all the girls are for him or whatever. So my biases had him wrapped up in that little thing. And then what I started hearing, like, oh, he's way different than what I was thinking. And then so you have to kind of unravel your biases and see, like, well, what is it that got me thinking it was this? And why was I thinking somebody I don't even know? Like, I already put them in a box. I don't even know them. And so the more that we start realizing the way that we generalize, the way we stereotype, that is, you know, the basis of your biases. And so you create them, and you create them for a reason. That's why you got to, you know, go in and dismantle them, take them apart or whatever, and look at them so that you can, you know, move. Well, it depends on what direction you want to move. I can't just keep saying, you know, well, you have to go this way. No, you don't. It's going to go in other ways. And it's not even, I don't even think it's just going to be these two realities, because there's going to be plenty of people who are going to be going home, going back to, you know, their reality. They're not going to go towards this one or towards that one. They're just going to leave this and go back home to where, you know, they want to be. Like, that's what a soul gets to do. It gets to do what it wants to do. It gets to be where it wants to be. And so the ones that are very in alignment with certain things, that it's in your program. You're programmed into your reality. And there's no reason to fight it or battle it. You got to come into harmony with it. You got to come into terms with it. What your purpose, you know, what it is you're here to learn, what it is you're here to experience. And so, anyways, that is, you know, my thoughts on that. But when I say things, I'm not just saying, well, this is what I want, this is what I want. But I do get into alignment with the things that I say in this direction, because that is the direction that it's been running my programs. And so I see the point of not being controlled, and I see the point of having everything open. I see the point of not being divided into groups. I see the point of the love and unity over this division and this, you know, somebody's got to be right and somebody's got to be wrong, and they're both fighting the same thing. And so, but anyways, I do think that we are close to whatever is going to go on. And there does seem to be rumbling in the sky. The sounds, there was a plane, like these little planes and stuff that go by. And it's so weird and it's so loud. And the sounds don't matter. Like there's a lot of stuff that is just so weird right now. And the way the sun and the moon are even moving, the colors, everything. So, but I don't know. I don't know what the thing's going to be. I know that the different groups are going to have this sudden change, this sudden seeing something that they didn't see. And that's going to go on. And that's going to lead into people seeing their truth and their healing and stuff. So that, then we have the groups going in the two directions, and we have the money thing completely changing. The housing market's gonna fall, and that is, like, to me, to see this stuff and to know some of this stuff, and then, but I look foolish because I'm not out there looking for a place, to go. But it's like, but we're in the middle of, it's like we're in the middle of a house fire and I'm supposed to run in and grab my stuff. It's like, no, everything is falling apart. Everything is going to change. I've just got to like ride it out. And, and there is challenges because the rest of the world around me is living this other way. And I'm living this other way. And so, yeah, I see it as like everything's falling apart. And I don't know, I don't know. I don't know the right place to be. I gotta just trust my higher self is gonna put me where I'm supposed to be. And and I know that this isn't, and I don't know, I mean, for one thing, it's giving my mom some freedom. Maybe she needed to get that feeling of having some freedom to be able to go, because she was so caught in a trap with, you want something to take care of, but then it starts becoming that you have it takes over all your time, all your life. And so, I don't know. I mean, I've been learning lots of insights on myself being here and seeing, and a lot of these mother wounds and stuff, and seeing, how it's all perspective. We can sit there and think they're our enemy or something, but they've got their wounds and they're feeling just as triggered. Just like when I left all of my different marriages there for a while, I thought I was a victim who didn't know how to pick a man, and I always picking abusers and all that stuff. But then I started seeing, oh, I play a role here. I am also, insinuate, or I create these tensions in my life. Oh my God, you guys. See, it's just gonna be intense. It's just intense. Maybe today is the day. Maybe today everything changes for us. Oh Lord. So let's just look at my hair. And but I still, no matter if I seem crazy or whatever, it still seems to me something will open up to me. Something will open. A door will open. I'll know which direction to go, and it will lead me into a new life, a new way of being. And I believe that is going to happen. I don't believe I have to go out and pound on doors and all that stuff, and then try and force to get the money and everything. Like, I don't know. We'll just see. I'm just looking forward to whatever this shit playing out, and everybody just see what I see. Like, it is, I don't know, it is kind of a burden to see what other people don't see. So, anyways, and my tooth. So it's like I can still feel like the whoosh of the wind and stuff, but it's not being sensitive like it was. Like, I don't know what was going on for those few days, but it's now, it feels like, but it's not anything like it was. Like, it was throbbing. It was like every little thing was like, oh fuck. And I mean, yesterday afternoon, I started noticing, like, oh, it's not hurting so much. But the other thing too is on this nerve thing. So where they did the nerve damage, I was like, I wonder if the nerve is coming back, because I'm having like the other day or yesterday, there was like something in my tooth or something, because I keep eating these nuts. And so there's like a piece, and like I went to right there. Like it feels so sensitive just to touch right there. But when I touched it, it shot down to another tooth. I was like, what in the hell is going on? Like, man, God, that hurt. So all of them keep being sensitive. So I don't know if it is something with his nerve is healing, because it definitely something is going on with it. So maybe his nerve is healing and it's causing that, or maybe the the energy is intense too, and so maybe that's causing stuff, because I don't know, my body's having weird stuff. My body's definitely having weird stuff. And sometimes I feel like, am I just gonna glitch out? Am I just gonna just disappear? Like, it just feels weird. Everything feels weird. Everything seems weird. The sounds are weird. Things look weird. People are weird. People are so, like, it's definitely, you can see the difference in the 5D people and the 3D people. And so many people are still 3D. But see, that's the thing, is like these people all think like the awakening is just seeing like the government's bad. No, it's so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger, and it's such a big connection to yourself. It's pulling free from all of this restrictions of telling you that you're just this, you're just that, this limitation, this limiting belief system. It's pulling free from that. And that is pulling out of this three-dimensional concept that has been very controlled. And so that's the awakening. That's what, we're, oh, here's my baby. Where's my baby? Um, let's see, go see her. She don't go see her very much, the snorer. She's very camera shy. Come here, little lady. Come here, my precious loudmouth. Well, that's not the best way. And this sore on the bottom of her chin. I wish I could, it still seems like it's just coming off of there. Oh, God, here comes Belle. She's got to be right there. She's like a little, she's so light. It's like a little fluffy, cutesy, like rat. So anyways, still just doing the spins. Gotta get comfortable. So, but it seemed like that there was some other stuff I was gonna say. Max hasn't been puking. I did the cleanse thing again, but and also it could have been the anxiety of me leaving, because he does have anxiety disorder. So, sometimes he wants the CBD stuff, which that one vet said that CBD stuff is another thing. Like if your dog has the big C, to use that, because it also is gets rid of that. So, and see, I've had Stella on all these different things for such a long time, but she definitely is slowing down. She's definitely slow. And she's like this big pig, walking so slow. But she still like is enjoying, life, like jumping in the water and chasing like playing with the other dogs and stuff. So, I don't know, whatever. Even if, like it kind of seems like, like people or dogs or anything, they can have something growing in them for a really long time and just keep it. But see, then you go and you get diagnosed, and then you get panicky, and then you start, taking their stuff, which just makes it grow, makes it get worse and worse and worse. And then a lot of people have to pull out and be like, well, I got to try something different. And I think my mom is really, something's going around and around in there on this eye stuff. I think, that probably is going to, when she said, well, when is there going to be a pill? And they said, oh, there's never going to be that. That's way too poisonous. I can't go in the general body. We're going to keep it isolated in there. That has got to, because she does have a lot of awaken to the medical. So that's got to be playing on your head of like, oh, so you're putting a bunch of poison in there. My vision's getting worse, but you're telling me that this is the only way forward. And so, You know, we all got to decide when we're gonna pull out. So, anyways, let me think of, because it seemed like that there was some more stuff, but whatever. I feel scattered, and maybe today will be our day. Maybe the day will be the big day. It seems so weird too, because everything just like is going along. You know, you think that there would be more spectacular thing leading into it. So I don't know. It seems like it's going to be just this sudden thing that's going to be extraordinary, and it's going to really shake things up. It's going to make people see things that they hadn't seen before. And then we're going to go into the scene, where people are going to have to take a look at themselves, and that's going to be the period of time of healing. So we have a lot of stuff still going. So even if you can't, like, I'm not trying to say, like, well, if you don't agree with this, then you're definitely not going. And because I know a lot of people, like, are on out of the negative timeline, they don't want to be in it. And so even if you feel real and aligned to the borders and restrictions and stuff like that right now, that can also be changing over the things that are going to be playing out. So don't lock yourself in any kind of thing. Well, lock yourself in love. Lock yourself in the positive, I say, because it just as it feels better. Like, man, I just can't even imagine just always being on the negative. It's like, oh my God. You ever look at anything in the positive? But anyways, and it gives you also more insight to yourself, the parts of you, when you see like the thing, the thing that is the force. It's like for the person, the other opposing force is what gives you a wall. It gives you a border. It gives you something to bounce yourself off of. So you need something to reflect off of. So the opposing force gives you the opportunity of reflection. So you can see yourself through the something being different than you. And so that is what gives you, I see it like when you're a kid and you're out there playing wall ball. You're just out there hitting the ball back and forth with the wall. That's what kind of the opposing force gives you the wall to hit your ball off of, so that you can see yourself throughout the experience. So that is, so it's not like your parent or whoever, your kid, is failing you or something. It is meant to be. It isn't meant to be. You're not meant to just all be the same. And even where there's kids that really conform and try and be exactly what their parents want, that is an entanglement. That is like where this person is controlling this person too much, and this person's allowing themselves to be controlled too much. There's an entanglement that has to, that's not the best way. It's like, oh well, my kid's exactly like me, is because there's a lot of people who really bank on that, but they don't realize their projection that they put onto their kid, and the overreach into this person's experience by needing them to conform for your comfort. And so the best way is let your kid figure itself out, the freedom of self, the freedom of expression. Let them go out and explore and become who they are. And what is just weird is it's because when they, the kid, they enter through you at a certain period, that they echo out this part of you. So it's almost like a part of you going out to have this other experience over who you were at that time. So you can see that kind of play out too in your kid's life, instead of trying to control it because you don't like that side of yourself and you wish you wouldn't have been that way, and now they're that way. It's like, well, let that play out. Let them go out and discover themselves and let that play forward. Don't try and control it and stuff. But anyways, but that is the way it's meant to be, is these two forces going, so that you have an opportunity to see yourself, because that is a lot easier to see yourself than if everything is just like you. And so that is like trying to see yourself as being light in the light. And so everybody has this thing. And just because to one energy, that would be a negative one, well, that negative one can feel like this other one is negative. Like it's not, we're not all living through these same perspectives. So you can't go in and convince somebody, well, you're negative, you're this, you're that. It's like, no, well, it's between them and the universe and their soul. It's their journey. It's not for us to go and decide, because that is through our perspective. Our perspective shows us one thing, their perspective shows them another. So that's why we can't, be stepping on everybody's toes saying, well, you can only see life through my perspective. My perspective is what matters. It's like, no. And also being comfortable with letting your kids go and play out and play through, the echo of you, of what you were at the time that you had them. And it can be rough, I'm sure, to some people, some people who were really doing really bad and on drugs and stuff. And then they see the effects of what it happened to their kids, and they wish they could change it, and they wish they could do. And when you want to change something, like the redemption of being is just go and just do better. Just go out and just do better. You know, uh, like if you were an addict and then this echoed out into your kids, and now you've got to see this, and you're doing better, but now you're having to witness what they're doing. Then just be a role model. That is, you making a change. That is your redemption, is not trying to control them or shame them, but to have empathy and compassion for where they came from, but then to role model better behaviors. And so that's how I would see it. So anyways, but let's look at my tooth and see. It definitely has sensitive, like when I do that and I breathe in, like the air hitting into it, it's definitely sensitive, but it's way better than it was. Like right now, I feel like I don't need to go down there and get them to rip it out, because it just starts getting in your head. Like, I don't want to have infection going into my bone and have my bone having an issue because I'm trying to save this tooth. It's like, fuck you, bitch. You're out. Don't fuck up my bone. And it's so weird, too, is none of it's real. Like, none of it's real except your attitude. Your attitude's real. And so that's what we get a chance to look at, our attitude, because that is what we are. We are who we think we are, who what we put out. We aren't always who we think we are, because a lot of people are blinded by their own ego, their own arrogance. They don't see themselves, but they're about to. Everybody's about to. So anyways, until you do, I would still say work on yourself, because you can just do some self-improvement, because then even when you look back at the sad broken sides of yourself, you can be like, yeah, but I came a long ways. Yeah, I was wrecked back then, but I've come a long ways now. And you can be proud of yourself. You don't have to just be hung up on like the shame and guilt of being a total idiot that you were at one point. Now you can look at like, fuck, man, I fucking came a long ways. I've overcome a lot of shit, man, and I'm doing good. So be proud of yourself. And this thing keeps falling. I was thinking, did it just fall again? So anyways, where to start is start learning how to love yourself. Learn how to love everybody and how to have the day you want. It's a choice between how you look at things. What you look at informs the expression of the day. So anyways, but we'll talk about it again tomorrow. Oh yeah, that was one thing too. Our power was out all day yesterday. And for one thing, it was like, okay, so now I know I need more peanut butter. I need a flashlight. Need this. And you start thinking of like, like it was a test run. Because then once it was out, and it had been out all day, and it was like, fuck, man. Could this be like where it's going to be out for a week or something? And they wouldn't give any explanation. Or my mom's like, oh, I'm sure they're doing with the grid. And I'm like, yeah, because it's going to keep showing us like someone else is in charge of our resources, because we got to get that through our heads. And so anyways, if the power goes out, so if you don't see me, the power's probably back out, and no telling, you know. And even when it went out, then it was like, fuck, you have no idea. You have no idea if things are, you know, hitting the ground over in somewhere else. You have no idea if the whole world is out of power. And especially once you lose your charge on your phone, I'm going to get one of those little solar charger things. But still, like, all the things are down in different places. You know, you can't put a video up and stuff. So, anyways, if I don't, um, uh, if you don't see one tomorrow or something, just think like, well, probably, or any of the days, because any of the days the power could go down and not come back up. And so that would be the first thing to think. If I don't come back, is because the power went down, and somehow I'll return at some point, somewhere, somehow. So, anyways, but you know, the power was down yesterday, and I didn't know if it was going to be coming back on. So, just wanted to mention that. But just don't forget, even if you don't see me, just keep on working on you. Keep on focusing on learning how to love yourself, learning how to love everybody, and how to have the day you want to have. So, anyways, we'll talk when we talk, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.